In 2002, Grandpa died. His funeral was at Arlington National Cemetery, and the only non-breathtaking thing about it was the military chaplain gave a Christian sermon, which is weird because there was no way Grandpa was Christian. He was Indian, born and raised in India. He had Hindu doodads all around his apartment, but I'm not sure he was Hindu either. Now, of course, I asked him about this, but Grandpa never gave straight answers to anything. Like, about his military service, the only thing he ever said was, paid killer. But he was in the military, he was in the Air Force intelligence, so I don't know what paid killer meant, which is what he wanted, because he was actively cultivating this, like, international man of mystery thing, which he did almost to the end of his life. During what turned out to be the last time I ever saw him, he decided to start telling me things. Specifically me, his grandson-in-law. And I think in his mind I was the only one he could tell because he had bad relationships with his kids. And his grandkids were deemed inappropriate because they were either too young or too female. Because he was a real man from that time. So that left me, and when they were in the room alone together, he just launched into completely random stories. Like, he came to the United States to go to Harvard, where he was a classmate of Robert Kennedy's, and they actually knew each other. And Grandpa said about him, freeloader. He never did his work. He thought he was big stuff. Kennedy is back. And I heard all about his prodigious university dating life. About which he said, back then it's not like today. You go on dates, it's about dancing, getting to know each other, having a good time. Now it's all about the sex. It's a shame. Back then it was not about the sex, but if the sex came your way, you did not turn it down, but it's not about the sex. And my favorite story was, he was a kid, and a monkey came in his window, and he befriended it. And they, like, were inseparable. Like, the monkey ate at the table with him, the monkey slept in his bed. Quite literally, he and the monkey would go horseback riding, looking for Bengal tigers. He always said, oh, that monkey was a crazy guy. And that crazy guy became Grandpa's best friend. Until one day, Grandpa was taking a nap, and the crazy guy bit him on his penis. And Grandpa, I think, reasonably lost his temper, and the monkey freaked out and ran out the window, and he never saw it again. And he felt terrible about that, because he truly, honestly missed that crazy guy. And the very last story he told me, was about his military service. He said, in Vietnam, my job was looking at aerial photographs. They would give me this big picture. And there'd be a river running through the villages. And I was supposed to take the intelligence and figure out, like, where the bridge was. And I put a little circle on the map where the bridge was, and that's where they would bomb. And then the next day I would get the picture back after they bombed it to see if they hit the target. And everything would be gone. All the villages, entire families, all gone. Picture after picture. We dropped so many damn bombs. And I killed so many innocent people looking at my pictures. And then he got done saying that, and we got in the next room and went to eat dinner with the rest of the family. 1 week later, Grandpa was walking down the street, he fell, and he died. Now, a decade later, Grandpa and I are not related anymore, not even in law. And the truth is, over like 4 years, I probably saw him like 8 times, so I barely knew him. But over the weekend, I was actually in Washington, D.C. for the first time since his funeral. And the first thing I did is I went to Arlington and I found his grave. The grave of a man I barely knew. The grave of a man who looked me in the eye and took personal responsibility for killing thousands of innocent people. And what did I do? I visited. I told him what I was up to, and I told him I was going to tell this story. And I told him this story before I told you, out of respect. So now, of course, a lot of people would say Grandpa was a mass-murdering war criminal, and I would actually agree with them. I would say he committed a cardinal sin, but Hindus don't have sin. They have karma. And Grandpa, looking at the devastation created by his pictures, picture after picture, no doubt, had to be reincarnated to come back to work through that. And so now, I wonder if I know him now, because I tutor 5th and 6th grade Somali kids. And considering what war has done to their families, it would be appropriate karmically if he came back as one of them, in particular a girl. So when I'm sitting across from Sawyer or Nuala or Sadia, I look at them and I often think, but I've never said because it'd be weird. I love you, Grandpa. And it looks like I always will, because maybe I always have.